everyone, it's Mo back in Matthew's Friends Keto Kitchen, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a muffin. I know muffins have been around a long time in our recipes, but things change, and one of the biggest changes that we're facing in more recent times is that we're getting more and more requests for nut free. So I've visited an old recipe for a bacon muffin and changed it to be nut free. So here we go. We have butter to start, and you see there's two pieces there. That piece we're keeping to serve it with, and that goes in. So we'll keep that for later. And it's quite soft. You can, if you're in a hurry, pop it in the microwave and soften it a bit more, but that's not too bad. I'll be able to get the other ingredients in there okay. So leave that for now. Now here we've got flax, and I use golden flax. If you've got the more original variety of flax, that's fine. It's just that the golden one gives quite a nice colour to the finished article. And I've got some ultrafine fibre flour. This is a really nice ingredient, which again I recently discovered. It's got carb in it, a bit higher than coconut and almond, but if you've got a fairly good allowance, you can fit it in. So I just mix those two together, get them out with a faithful spatula. I always like to mix them first. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it's something that I like to do just to make sure that they're all combined nicely. And into that I'm going to add Barcat, a little bit of raising agent, and that's this here. Goes in. That's just a quarter of a teaspoonful. You don't need very much for this. These are brilliant for batching up, but they do have bacon in, and I'll show you the best way to go about it if you are going to batch up. So that's the dry ingredients, and I will add just a little pinch of herb. You can put salt or pepper in this. I favour using some herbs as a seasoning. It's a nice way of doing it. So they're all mixed, and then you just combine those into the butter. Bit of elbow grease. If you were doing this batched up, you'd make about half a dozen or a dozen of them. You could put these into a mixer or use a hand mixer. Always scrape down a couple of times just to make sure you haven't got lumps of fat or butter left on the spatula and not getting into the ingredients properly. Well, that's fine. Now I'm going to add to that egg. And it's not a whole egg, so it's already beaten and weighed, and cream. You can mix those together before if you prefer to. Give a good mix round. It may look a bit wet, but it does change. Scrape down. Now we have cheese, which I've grated very finely. I like to have a fine cheese when I'm using it in a recipe. And some chopped spring onion. Now that's optional if you don't want to put onions in. It won't make a great deal of difference to the finished article, but it's a lovely flavour. Now if I was batching these up, I would have first weighed the bowl and then made whatever amount of ingredients I was aiming at, say for 6 muffins, and then weighed the whole thing after. Take away the weight of the bowl and then divide that by 6, and then you would put the 6 equal weights into each muffin mould. Now I've got an individual one here. You can of course use the ones where you get 6 in the whole tray, which is fine. Now you see there's no bacon in there yet, because if you were batching up, you would put your mixture into the mould and then divide up the bacon. It's just to make sure that it's fair dues, you know, each muffin has got the right amount of bacon in. And you do that as well when you make the fruit ones. If you make a blueberry, you make your mixture first, divide it all up, and then just pop your blueberries on the top. And that makes sure that everyone gets their fair amount, and it keeps the recipe correct. So I'm going to put this in now, because obviously I'm only making one today. Now you see how that's thickened up already. Now it doesn't hurt to leave this to stand for a few minutes, but you can see that that's fairly thick already. So I'm going to turn on my oven. And I'll show you the mould I'm using. I love these little moulds. Again, my preference, I prefer metal to silicone. I know there's an awful lot of silicone out there, and that's fine, but metal does give a more even temperature. And I think that when you see the finished article after it's cooked, you'll see that around the edges and the bottom it is lovely golden brown. And I've found that in the silicone it's not quite the same. But again, it's all down to preferences and what you've got, of course. If you've only got silicone, then that's what you're going to use. It's good for packing. And of course, the all-important thing is that it's nut free. The schools, or a lot of schools, are a bit wary of anyone taking anything in that's got nuts in it these days. Now that's going to go into oven, and it will take 15 to 20 minutes to cook.